Helplessness, nation. We've all felt it. We've all felt its grip. It's the moment in time where you feel as though there is nothing that you can do, where there is nothing you can do to help. There is no help out there. You're kind of, well, just left to face and see, well, what nature is going to give us. Helplessness was felt a lot by many members of our southern communities here in the United States this past week with the deadly tornado outbreak. However, today, the helplessness that I speak about is Helplessness Blues by the band Fleet Foxes. A little bit different than what I typically cover, but luckily for you guys, if you guys are not into this style of music, you are not helpless. You can simply choose to turn this review off, but I do implore you to stick around because this is definitely an album worth checking out, even if you're not a fan of the metal community. If you're a fan of folk or what they would call baroque pop, well then this is right up your alley. In fact, this is a name that you guys probably know already, so I'm not telling you anything new or different. I'm telling you something that you've already known since their 2008 debut effort. But with a lot going on between that effort and the release of Helplessness Blues, well, the Fleet Foxes went into the studio with, well, not so much a redefined attitude, but with a lot on their minds and a lot on their plates. Well, they're $60,000 poorer, and the lead singer almost lost his relationship. They're right now supposedly working it out. However, they've also gained an indebitable amount of press, not to mention they have gotten a lot of support from the fans that were the originators of their popularity prior to them even getting a deal. Yes. Helplessness Blues is a 12-track affair, nearly 50 minutes in length, that is lavish in all of the staples that you would see in both folk and baroque pop. However, the one thing that I have to really, I guess, praise on this particular release is the soft guitar, the acoustic guitar. This is a 99.9% acoustic album. In fact, I only can recall of one instance where anything electric was even present. And this is actually what you would consider to be in most of my metal friends a bit of a turn-off, but for me it was a massive turn-on. Because the way in which it was presented was very well done. It's very soft, it's very easy on the ears, but at the same time it also represents a certain feeling, a certain mood, and a certain theme. Where if you see the slow guitar, or should I say the soft guitar, in a more aggressive environment, it can convey one emotion as opposed to if it's played in a very slow, strummed, melodic, kind of dreamy style. On this particular release, you see a nice blend of both, and I will say that Fleet Foxes are a band that are able to really use all of the different moods and emotions that they carry throughout their very poetic lyric writing, really to their advantage. They're able to really represent the mood that they're trying to capture, and sometimes, whenever the poetic nature of their lyrics seems a little bit more abstract, they're even able to convey it then. There's a part on the latter stage of the album which is entitled "An Argument," which is part of a two-track, a two-track song, where they use dueling horns that almost sound and resemble like two people having an argument. It almost seems like it's bare bones, where they're doing something to, accurately articulate what they have said in the song title, but it just makes that particular section all the more powerful. All throughout this record, you're going to hear very dreamy style guitars, very dreamy lyrics. His voice is just magnificent. His voice is able to articulate everything that he's trying to say through his lyrics all the better. And he has a very strong voice. This is not something where he drolls monotone at one particular level. He's able to undulate up and down and do so with a very high level of proficiency. Overall, Helplessness Blues is, well, not very helpless. This is an album that I think will take the Fleet Foxes very far. It's a very, very good effort, if not a landmark effort for these guys. And with the support that they've gotten crawling in from various publications, not to mention a lot of members of the music community being very excited for this particular release, well, I think this album has the opportunity to go far. Not to mention, I think the music that you see within, or should I say hear, within this album really represents the band very well and shows them to be just as important as these publications are making them out to be. Strong 8 out of 10 for this particular record. It's a change. It's different. And like I said, it's not what I typically cover. Probably not what you typically listen to. But sometimes, my nation, surprises can come in the areas in which you least expect them. And the Fleet Foxes, they just happen to be one of them.